Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. In the studio today, I want to put two basses head to head. In this corner, we have a short scale Fender Mustang that is from the PJ series, the first generation, and this is strung with Thomastik infeld flatwounds. In the other corner, we have a made in Mexico Fender Precision bass, and this is strung with the Dario Chrome's flatwounds. So the purpose of today's video is to see whether or not the scale length makes a significant difference to the tone in the context of a track. Both basses are Fenders, both have flatwounds, so I think this is going to be an interesting experiment. First, let's hear the tones you can get from these basses by itself. So here's the Mustang with the tone knob at 0%. Here's with the tone at 50%. And here's the Mustang wide open. Now let's hear the Precision bass. So here's the Precision bass, volume all the way up, tone at 0%. Here's with the tone knob at 50%. Tone knob wide open. Now, this is not at all a perfect scientific A-B experiment because there are other variables at play. Firstly, the fingerboard on this Precision bass is maple, whereas on the Mustang it is rosewood. The strings are different. Like I said, these are the Dario Chromes, and we have Thomastik infelds on the Mustang. The bridges are both Fender bridges, but the design is slightly different. It is just a run-of-the-mill made in Mexico bridge, whereas the bridge on the Mustang is a more vintage slotted saddle style. So it's not a perfect A-B experiment, but it's what I had in the studio today. But I still think it makes for an interesting sonic experiment. So the track today comes from my last solo album called In Repair. I play all the cellos, keyboards, bass, and drums on this album. I initially recorded the bass part with the Fender Mustang. So let's mash these two together and we'll come back and talk about it. Here we go. first thing I will say is the Precision bass sounds quite a bit more articulate compared to the Mustang. So the attack of the note is much more immediate, whereas the note attack on the Mustang is considerably slower, and the notes have a bit more of a cushiony bloom to it. From a sustained point of view, they're both pretty similar, so the decay of the note is pretty similar between the two. I also think the full-scale Precision bass, the notes are a little more harmonically complex. Now that may or may not be a good thing. What I've learned, especially in the context of recording the cello, which is a harmonically rich and complex instrument and fretless, what I've learned in my travels is that if you have a lot of harmonically complex instruments playing together in a mix, sometimes those harmonics kind of clash together and can make some of the instruments, especially the fretless ones, sound out of tune. And that is definitely what I found recording cello. So in my travels, I found that using a bass that sounds a little more focused, a little less harmonically rich and complex, does kind of, they don't interact and clash nearly as much. And I actually find the cello sounds more in tune when I record with the Mustang. So in the context of this particular track, I think both basses are pretty interchangeable. I think on the full scale bass, you have a little more wiggle room to change the attack of the note. So if you were to pluck a little closer to the neck, you can actually simulate that kind of rounder attack of the note. I think both are winners, but you let me know what you think. Comments below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.